Okay, so we're gonna start with contour drawing, which is when you are rendering a subject and focusing on only the outside parts of the subject matter, right? So you're really focusing on just the outline or the outer edges of a subject and trying to render them as specifically and slowly as possible, right? So when you start contour drawing, it is traditionally a very slow way of working. So I don't want to see necessarily anything that looks like this, like any kind of sketching that you can reserve for gesture, right? So I'm going to start and really try to get very specific and very slow, right? So I always tell students, you know, your pencil should only move about as fast as your eye travels. So when you're doing contour drawing, and I'm going to post an image of the plant that I'm drawing from, you're going to want to spend about 70% of your time actually looking at the object and then 30% looking at your paper, right? So it's that kind of split between where you're really focusing on what you see and then trying to get it as accurate as possible. So I'm going to take a few leaves of my plant and really blow them up. So I'm going to start, and you'll notice, I know this probably isn't the most exciting drawing to watch someone do because it is pretty painstaking, right? But it's all about specifics, right? So I don't want you to necessarily generalize the thing that you see. I want you to really try to focus in and capture specific detail, right? So this plant that I'm drawing from is my house plant, lives in my studio, right? So even though the leaves are all about the same shape, they have little bumps and ridges and they're all pretty uniquely shaped, right? So the point is to go very, very slowly when you do this and focusing on only the outside. So you see this line here, this is actually like the outer part of a turned leaf, right? So, you know, it is important to try to keep track of your shapes as best you can when you're doing this. So I'm going to do this little stem here. Doesn't necessarily have to be a continuous line, but what you're looking for are very specific shapes. You want to really take your time. And this is again why I say about, you know, 70% of your time should be spent looking at the object, right? Because, you know, this is what I have so far, but I could kind of symbolize and like, you know, be like, oh, maybe there's a little noodly leaf and be really like general instead of very specific. But the whole idea behind contour drawing is that you're more training your eye to see. And so by doing that, you have to slow your pencil down, focus on what you're seeing and try to capture all those details, right? So, you know, you don't want to go super fast. Now, anything inside of this, I know there's details to this leaf. I know that most leaves have lots of veins, would be a cross contour, right? And that's something else we're going to focus on a little bit later. So right now, you're just focusing on the outside lines. Now, if there's a point of overlap, it's fine to, let's say, because I've got a little stem here, it's fine to kind of maybe darken that with a little bit thicker of a line just to kind of help push and pull things forward. But I've got another stem here. It's behind this other one. I'm going to finish off a leaf here. And again, the whole point is to go slow, only traveling as fast as your eye is moving across your subject matter. Because I know we all think we know what leaves look like, and we're pretty good at generalizing and summarizing, but to get specific contour and to get really good at this drawing technique, you have to go slow and you really have to pay attention to what you're doing, right? It's all about, you know, painstaking. Every second I've got another leaf here, every little nook and cranny that you can see, you're gonna try to capture that specificity. Goes out a little bit more. And it's all really, it's more about, you know, making yourself really focus on every ounce of detail that you can and really pay attention to like what your eye is processing and what you're trying to see, right? So my little quick demo on just contour. And then in the next one, I'm gonna do a blind contour and contour version.